the reason that we eat is not simply the physical hunger that we feel. There's actually a couple of different reasons. So if you say that overeating as a general term is the cause of obesity, you're eating too much. The deeper question is not that you're overeating. If you want to take it at a literal sense, it is overeating because you're gaining the weight. But the question is why? The question that you need to know is why. So if it's because of the physical hunger, that's actually properly termed the homeostatic hunger, which is this whole hormonal thing that we talked about. But there's a whole other thing, which is hedonic hunger. The reason you eat is not simply that you need the nutrients. You eat because it tastes good and you want to eat and it makes you feel good. You can't simply ignore that. And that's where you have to understand that there's a whole second reason. And that's where the ultra processed foods and food addiction and emotional eating come into it. Because the ultra processed foods are engineered to make you feel a certain way. And that's what drives this hedonic hunger. And that's what makes you eat more. So if your problem is ultra processed foods, then you can't simply say, hey, just eat less, because the problem that you're eating more is that the foods are ultra processed, right? You got to get to the heart of the matter. And then there's a whole third thing, which is the conditioned hunger. That is, the way that we eat is not simply this need for nutrition or the emotional side. There's a whole social and conditioning side. That is, if you look at the environment that you go into, it plays a huge role into shaping your eating behavior. For example, if you're in a meeting and it's the mid-afternoon and it's really boring, and there's a plate of cookies in front of you. Well, you didn't really need to eat it, but it's there. And so you eat it, right? It happens to all of us. On the other hand, if there's no cookies, are you likely to excuse yourself from the meeting, go downstairs, get yourself a cookie, and then come up? People like, why did you leave? So the social situation plays a huge role. And we know this because if you look at people who are overweight and then you look at their friends, if your friend is overweight, your own risk of being overweight goes up by like 100+%. It's a massive amount. And we know it's true because if your friends all eat a certain way, if all your friends are eating salad, you're more likely to eat salad. That's just the way it is. That's how we are as humans. Same thing in Japan, for example, they have certain ways of eating that are more conducive to maintaining a proper weight. They eat less processed foods, they eat fewer times, they don't snack as much, all that sort of thing. You take that Japanese person in Japan, their risk of obesity is extremely low because they have one of the lowest rates of obesity. Now you take that Japanese person and stick them in San Francisco. Their risk of obesity skyrockets. It's absolutely crazy.